On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
And I'm gonna just tell you, I know women today whose goal is to be a housewife. And the
Oh yeah,
problem
many.
in the society today is that we want to say, okay, all women should be celebrated and highlighted, yet women themselves don't even respect women that want to be housewives anymore, as though that's not even a respectable profession anymore.
That's
So when
true.
we having this conversation, in order for her to be a housewife in today's society, there needs to be a certain level of man that she meets that can meet a certain expectation that enables her to be able to do that. And if you're saying that a high value man is not important in that circumstance or situation, then you really being naive and you're not being honest
Well,
with
I don't
yourself.
know. We have different philosophies, bro. Because I feel if
Mm.
you we talked about this earlier. If you work in the house, you gotta actually get a job.
If you guys are just tuning in, welcome to La Peep. Let's talk. Our first topic was a phenomenal discussion. And if you're just tuning in right now, we're about to move to our second topic, which is, does money and education improve a woman's status? Does money and education improve a woman's status? Nix.
You know what? Hey, I don't know if he listened. I almost want to go back to our brother Avon that's in the group. Avon was on the show like a few months back, and he mentioned about certain women that you try to identify with. He was saying we all got. I think this goes back to what you were talking about, Anton, about dating up, dating down, right? So the thing is, I feel like this is one of the variables that does make somebody look more attractive based on the credentials that they come with, man. Because the thing is, all depends on like birds of a feather. All depends on what you're looking for. So I'm not saying if you don't got credentials, your education, your bag right, that don't mean nothing. But to each his own. I think that somebody that does present themselves, they got credentials, not just degrees, but other businesses could be a credential. Entrepreneurship could be a credential. Hey, some people may look more attractive based on not just the way they look, but attractive on what they could bring to the table. So I do say that if you do have these other things you're bringing to the table, yeah, you do. And the thing is, hey, when you know better, you do better. It's a different mindset too that we overlook. When you got things, even if you're an entrepreneur, you worked hard for those things. So the thing is, you're able to say to like, hey, somebody does have that level of grit and in the trenches and know how to be multifaceted. So I think that the degree, the job, it just shows that like, hey, you got it in you. So I think it's almost like looking at a resume. So I'm comparing it to that. People don't want to talk about it, but before we engage into that second date, we do mentally go through this resume of things that check the box of criteria that we're looking for. So I think it does help assist with making somebody look more attractive or become more attractive.
Hey, Nix, the question was, does money and education improve a woman's status? Can you define what status means to you?
You know what? I actually look at status beyond money and stuff because I think it's easy to say like, oh, well, if they make 100K or whatever, then yeah, XYZ, they a certain status. To me, it's about what they bring to the table. So I'm thinking about their mind. I'm thinking about their looks, not looks, but how they carry themselves. Somebody could look like have just blessed with a bad body, a good body, but dressed terribly, right? So the thing is about how they carry themselves, how they speak, how they talk. Honestly, and this is my preference, like even if you got a child, like I almost want to feel like if in my stage of my life, like the way you carry yourself as a mother, that shit is dope. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, hey, not to say it's like a job or anything like that, but it shows you know how to handle your business. Because we know people out there don't know how to handle their children. So to me, all those things goes into the different buckets of status, not just monetary.
Okay. Does money and education improve a woman's status? I'm going to say no. I don't agree with you, Nix, on that one.
Oh,
I don't.
okay.
I don't
All right,
think.
moderator.
Yeah, I don't think money and education improves a woman's status.
It's a variable. We can't deny that it doesn't support it.
Yeah, it supports it, but that person is who they are. Just like you said, mindset and along with a lot of other things that they have might dictate that status.
Well,
But you
to
first
me,
got to define what status is. So,
well,
let's go ahead, Nix. What you trying to say?
I give you this. So, like, let's say, like, education, right? Education, we could say, is not for everybody. So that's why I mentioned credentials and the fact of a business, the process. Even if you got a degree, you got your own business. To me, that's already saying that, like, what you went through a process in order to make sacrifices in your life in order to earn that degree or to earn that your own business, maybe even multiple businesses. So for me, I think it does impact your status because the fact of the process and the journey that it took you to get there, almost like somebody that work out, right? The thing is, some people are blessed with just being naturally slim. But the fact that, like, hey, let's say you was out of shape and then you back in shape, it's like, hey, you can say, oh, people that go to the gym have a better status. It's not just about the way they look, but about the journey that got them there. You know what I mean? So for me, that's the mindset. We think about growth mindset and being able to show that grit and perseverance. For me, those are things I'm looking at as a resume to saying the status that, you know what, you got it in you. Because some people don't know who they are and they're walking around here aimlessly. So I'm not saying it's the only thing, but we can't deny not just the money, because we're not talking about a certain dollar amount, but the fact that you are securing a bag. Securing a bag could be $50K a year. Good for you. But the fact that you're working for your money, I like that. I'm not saying it has to be $150K or more than me, because then we got men that feel like, oh, well, you can make money, but you can't make more than me. Who cares, right? So the thing is, it all goes back to like, hey, what are you bringing to the table?
All right, Nick. So I kind of halfway trying to understand what you're saying, but some of the stuff I just don't disagree with. Let me hear what everybody else got to say. You're all over the place, Nick. Tawana.
It's opinions, bro. It's just opinions.
Tawana, does money and education improves a woman's status?
A woman's status in what? In the world, in life, in relationships?
In
yes.
Relationships.
Yes, education is definitely valuable to a woman. A woman's money, because with money you can take care of yourself. You can get your hair done. You can buy nice clothes. You can get new boobs if you want. You can, flatten your tummy. I mean, there is so many things that a woman can do that have money versus a woman who don't. So yeah, absolutely, it changes your status, because that's why you take one woman like that's basic looking like Black China, and she look like, a goddess to men, right? Her body is like perfect because she got money.
I don't know about now, but
all I'm saying is she gets these dudes, these high value men, okay, and her body is together. So what I'm saying is, yes, money can change your status, right? It can change the men that you have access to. And if I got some big boobs and my body was tight, like I probably could get these millionaire men. Like that could change a lot. So yes, your money, and then a lot of men value an educated woman, a woman who they can talk to, who can give them some insight into life. I mean, who wants a woman who can't help you through anything to be your partner in life? I mean, who wants a woman who don't really have any types? And not saying that only educated women can help, because obviously your experience, there's other things that teach you things that's more valuable, and education doesn't teach you everything. But what I'm saying is that you can't just discredit a woman's education and her money and say that because men value physical things, that doesn't mean anything to anyone else. And it does. It changes you, and it makes you more marketable in a lot of ways. So anything that makes you more marketable to me is valuable and changes your status in life. So I disagree with some of what you said, Nick. I mean, I think you were on that, but I definitely disagree with JR. But some of, I think you did pretty much explain that, it does bring some value to a woman.
Yeah, it's a variable. So I'm saying it's not the only thing. So I know that the question asked about what money and education. I'm just kind of generalizing. There are other variables that goes into how we build status.
Absolutely.
But like we said, the education and the money is almost taps you into a network. We could all say that, like, hey, take away half of what we make annually, right? Or we don't have no degrees. The thing is, we live in a society where it does give you access and opportunity. When you know better, you do better. So the thing is, you strive for more.
When I went into my management level role, my wardrobe changed. My access changed. I could do more things. I could get my hair done every 2 weeks versus me doing my hair myself. I could get my eyebrows done, nails done, feet done every 2 weeks. I didn't need anyone to help me do that. I did it on my own. And then that changed the way I looked, and that changed the access that I had. And I'm saying that my education put me in an atmosphere where I could be moved up and promoted within my organization. That changed my status within my organization. So absolutely those two things have value to women, and they change the status. So
JR, can I add one thing?
And it
Can I add
also
one
changed
thing,
your
please?
attitude as well as who you think you are to the world. So
No, hey, before Danielle,
but I've been the same way.
yeah, so
before Danielle speak, can I add one
women that's
thing?
getting to the bag and women that got this education, now they're all the way up here.
Yes.
I'm this, I'm that.
Nice.
You can't tell me
Stay
anything.
up there, baby.
Who are you? I don't know,
Can I
man. We're
add
gonna
one
dive
thing?
into this. We're gonna
Stay
dive
up
into
there,
this.
baby.
Go ahead, Nick.
Stay
Go ahead,
right
Nick.
on up there.
The only thing is that, as we talk through this, I do almost feel like, as far as society, there's
it don't change their status, Knicks.
It's a double standard, though, at the same time. Because I feel like when we talk about I feel like a woman can still kind of navigate through the world a little bit better. I feel like men are judged based on status. Like, if I don't have money, I don't have a car. If I don't have a car, I can't get the chick, right? I can't get the woman. I don't think that those concrete rules technically apply to levels of status for women. Status is great for women, but I feel for men, you're judged either fairly or unfairly if you're a man. If you don't have an education and you don't have money, you can't talk to me. I don't think men treat women that way, but women treat men that way based on status. That's the only thing I have to say. I'm not trying to veer our topic in another direction, but it's just something that just kind of came to mind when we were talking through this.
Anton, I'm coming to you. I want you to stir the pot a little bit, which I know you are already are gonna do.
Hey, that's the whole reason you got Anton on
go...
the show. Let Anton go first next time then. Let him set the table.
Anton, does money and education improve a woman's status?
Not even a little bit, bro. Like, as it relates to I'm just going to speak from the perspective of how men view women. As far as high value men specifically, no, I don't. It doesn't have even a little bit of
can we not
of any kind of bearing.
Like, see, can we?
I gotta speak from where I am and how guys that align with me.
This is gonna change tonight. I already see what.
And how guys that align with me and dudes that I associate with which are high value dudes.
Oh my God! I don't like. Oh,
it has no bearing.
Hold on, next. Let's get through this.
It has no bearing whatsoever. Like, listen, you having money or education, and when we talk about education, most of the time people associate it with being college educated. And I know plenty of women that's college educated and some of the most ghetto women that I've ever seen in my life. Like, that has no bearing whatsoever on. I know women that's got 3 degrees and 2 masters, and they absolutely broke. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they got a lot of, that's all that means is that they got a lot of debt, a lot of these chicks, right? So when we talk about it and we really compartmentalize it, because I know women that has never went to college and they incredibly beautiful and they might even own their own business, which them owning their own business has no bearing on me whatsoever, because I don't really care about how much money you make, right? That has no bearing on whether or not I'm attracted to you. I'm not basing what it is that I feel towards you or my attraction or where you are in those specific areas of your life as it relates to that. I'm not bearing that, using that as a litmus or a status as to whether or not I would ever be attracted to you. Like, to be honest with you, I could talk to you 100 times and never ask you whether or not you went to college. Like, that's not even a question that I'm gonna ask you, is whether or not you went to school. I don't care. I really don't care. Are you beautiful? Are you gorgeous? Is your mind in the right space? Do you really put in the effort that you need to do in every area of your life? And that'll reflect in what you look like. It'll reflect in your effort and your ability to be able to nurture this particular type of thing in which we got going on. Is your, like, those are the character. Are you feminine? Are you able to, you know what I'm saying, maneuver in a certain type of place? Or are you always trying to compete with me to see who the bigger dog? Yeah, I ain't got time for that. You know what I'm saying? So as it relates specifically to status in relationships, as far as what men are looking for, so I'm really speaking to that niche. You know, I'm not speaking to a specific area in which, like, Tawana addressed or whatever. Like, if you gorgeous and you putting in the effort to be the best version of you, and you able to be talked to, and you awesome, and you got your head on right, and I can take you into a place and not feel like, you know, and I'm bringing in somebody that's gonna embarrass me. If you can move like that, you can have anything you want. I'm going to make sure that you well taken care of and that you got every single available resource to do all of those things that you felt like you needed to get before I got you. So I feel like as it relates to relationships, as far as what I'm looking for, if I was looking for somebody, it has zero bearing on what it is that I'm interested in.
Danielle, does money and education improve a woman's status?
I think to the woman, it improves her status, but I think most men do not care. I think it is all about the way that woman makes that man feel. You know, you can be, you can have an associate's degree, you can have a high school education. Hey, there are women out here with high school education that are entrepreneurs that are, making moves. But I think it's how that woman, she doesn't have to have all that if she can cater to that man and make him feel like he can conquer the world. She's a helpmate. So I think for us women, yes, we believe that these things make us a better partner, but I just don't think men feel that way. And you can look around, like, there are rich men. I mean, for example, look at some white women. They go to college, they get equal degrees to a man, and then they move to the suburbs and they stay at home.
Right.
What's that degree worth? It's worth nothing.
I agree with you, Daniel. The only thing I would say, like, when I was speaking earlier, I wasn't necessarily talking about an aspect of relationships, but life. But I think it really goes back to access and opportunity. So the thing is, like you mentioned about the person who move out to the suburbs, they don't do nothing. But the level, not even the credential they earn, but the journey, the getting there, they still met striving toward that same goal, right? They still met toward in an educational setting to do that together. If they in a business situation, I feel it puts you in the situation to select each other. You know what I mean? Like, you could say, like, yeah, it don't matter. And the thing is, it all comes down to the vibes, right? But I truly feel that, birds of a feather. Like, even if I'm a doctor and she's a nurse, but we're still in the same arena. So the thing is, I feel like sometimes in the level of education, I do agree with Anton, education doesn't mean like a formalized educational setting, right? But whatever that may be, whatever learning environment, if you're in that same learning environment with someone, you do have access to people that you didn't. And even with money, because you're able to have access to do different things, the more money you got, able to travel. Like, we're talking about traveling and stuff, right? You got to have money for that, right? So but
I think a resourceful woman can put herself in that situation. A resourceful woman who is looking for.
You are 100% right, Daniel.
Define resourceful.
What do you call those?
Earlier, it's not about 100K or something like that.
What do you call those high quality, high value men? There are women that are specifically looking for that man, and she will elevate and do whatever she needs to do to get in the room or get wherever, even if she's working in a retail store. There are resourceful. Look at your average groupie. Some of them are very resourceful. How do you get in these hotels with these players?
You.
Who let you?
They groupies.
Well, but they are. But they are also resourceful.
Yeah.
You know, and college didn't necessarily take them there. They found out a way to get there.
No, Danielle, I agree. What I disagree with Anton is about that it's not one-sided. Y'all look at, like Anton, you look at everything very binary. The thing is, these are different paths, right? No one person, you always want to make shit seem monolithic. It's not. The thing is, like, we all gave different.
It's definitely not.
No, for real. The only time you give a big up if somebody agree with what you said, bro. I gave a different perspective. Okay, cool. You got a perspective. These are all perspectives. So you make it seem like it's one homogeneous way in which you could go.
I'm not gonna validate you. I disagree with what you're saying. I respect what you're saying.
Brandon, I agree
with
what you say.
I respect you, but I don't agree with you.
Way,
I think that you dead wrong, 100%.
I think you're dead wrong, man.
There is men
like. And even with the high value shit, man. Well, maybe I'm not a high
value. Hey, JR, can you move Danielle to my side of the screen?
And let me keep it real. Right now, I'm going to give you an example. I know someone, he's making 6 figures. His wife, she's making some dough. He complains about her all the time. Like, it's petty shit. You know what he said? I would rather take a 20-year-old that just left college.
But he didn't.
But because look, with her initially, I believe men do sometimes go, oh, she's got this going.
When she turned 40, he can trade her in for 220.
I don't know one
she's
man.
Knocking 40. She's knocking 40, but he wants to take a girl straight out of college because He's gonna get all the blowjobs he wants. He's gonna get.
I don't know no men
She's
with a
not.
college education that don't value a
I'm
woman
just trying to figure out when
with
we
a college
start talking about
education.
100K.
Hey,
That's
listen.
When
You
we
know what's so
start talking
funny?
Me and my man went to the
This why I
same
go
school.
see-
Like
You know what's so funny, Nick?
we
You know
value
what's so
each
funny?
other.
What's up,
We
Anthony?
All you
had
gotta
a
do
good
is
college.
look at Jeff Bezos, bro. Like as soon
Yes.
as he got to his bread,
Yes.
he dropped all
It's
that
like
high
one
intellect or whatever,
person.
and he paid her
But a
off
lot
or
of men
whatever,
do that
and he
because after a
upgraded
while they
physically.
just want to be
First thing he
catered
did was
to.
upgraded physically. He upgraded
Yeah.
physically. He looked better. He like
There's
it's
just
so
no.
clear. I don't know.
I don't
why
know. I
women
don't read
see
those
it.
books.
It's just
Anton.
not one
I'm
way
sorry.
to
I
think.
don't.
But
It's-
Tawana, like
This
honestly,
is a specific man that you're talking about.
you know
This
what
is not every man. This
you
is
know
a-
what comes with an educated woman who has her own money. I'm not going to shut up. I have my own opinion. I'm not going to
Yeah.
be submissive to you because I'm a boss too. That attitude does come along with it. And sometimes those women who don't do as much, they're more willing to, they cater. They're
Well, see,
benefiting.
hey, Danielle,
They
you know what I'm
are.
gonna say.
Not in my
You know
damn life.
hate-
I don't know what life y'all
Hey,
live.
JR, move over to my
Go ahead
side,
and
bro.
keep living your
Move
joke.
over to my
No,
side,
the thing
bro.
is, see,
I'm like,
no, here we go with the less than conversation, right?
thank God, Joe.
No,
Thank
everything is a
God,
less than.
Joe Cleaver don't live
Like,
in
so
here.
this, hey, bro, let's move on,
Say
bro.
that.
Like, see,
Praise
and
the
no,
Lord.
hey, moderator, you do this all the time. You always pick these topics.
JR
that you
didn't
know
say nothing.
that I feel strongly
JR
about.
didn't say nothing.
Listen,
No, because it's a submissive thing.
that
She
ain't
just said
happening,
it.
Captain.
Danielle, I'm not feeling the submissive comment. Because the
Me
thing is,
neither.
like, this is where we go back with the less than, right? So it's this
It's
hierarchy.
ridiculous.
It's this hierarchy that we have in this society, bro.
And
that's
I
the problem.
was watching a show, Married at First
Everything
Sight,
in
last
hierarchy.
night. And the white women were the women who were saying, like, I'm not gonna be submissive in this relationship. Like, I'm going to be he gonna have to treat me equally. And it was one black girl. She was like, well, I'm religious, and so I believe in that, right? Like,
But it's her
I'm gonna be
religion that's
submissive.
doing that. It's
And
her
she-
religion.
Okay, but she said she wanted to be submissive. But the problem is that we feel like you have to be one way in order to get married, in order to have a successful relationship. When I've seen time and time again equal partnerships that last for 50 years, that last for 30 years, that's lasted over time. And so when you all say something where it's like, no, this is what men want and this is what they value and this is what works. And I see that it works in other ways and it works in other
I said this is what high value men want. I think it's levels.
But I do believe it's working because those women are pouring into that man
Oh, yeah,
too.
one at a time,
High value
y'all.
terminology goes with a dollar amount, and
Right.
we're talking about if you make 100K and all that.
That's why I don't believe
Nick,
I'm not.
you just subjected yourself to that same narrative in the last conversation.
No, I mentioned earlier. No, what I said, I said you could make 50K. I said as long as you making your money.
You just said when we had the
I'm not
last
talking about a dollar
question.
amount.
When we had the last question, you specifically said, and you agreed with me that as it relates to the sexual marketplace value, that men's value go up and we're looked at a specific type of way. And you said, wait. Hold on.
Money and education on this
And
topic.
you said that it's not fair that men are looked at this way. But now you're saying that this doesn't make sense in your mind, that we are making this whole narrative by which we
said
can't
it's a
be
perspective that I did. I
Nick,
gave my opinion.
you know what it is, bro.
Why I gotta
Yeah,
be
I'm
yes or no?
disagreeing.
That's the only part I disagree with you, Anton. Every time we talk on this show, you make it seem like it's either one way or the other. So if it's not your particular way, then you disagree with
When I know men
respect
who
you
do
too,
the
brother,
opposite.
but I'm just coming with a different opinion. I told
That's
you
right.
one thing, we're not status. We did not define that by the monetary value of how much money you make.
Yes, we
and
do.
education,
Money is
as
everything.
You mentioned
Money
doesn't relate
rules
to necessarily
everything.
what's formalized education.
Character is
Let me tell you
also
something.
a problem.
Tell me,
If your character is flawed,
Character is an
your
important
money makes
factor.
no difference.
But you don't even get consideration if you don't have certain level of resources. You're not even in certain rooms. You don't get access to the same things that this person get access to. Certain people don't even consider you when you're not on a certain level as a man specifically. So if you're telling me that money don't mean nothing, I would tell you that you're living in a dream world and you're not being honest with yourself.
And a
because I
lot of
know
those
that
women
it does.
are single too. Like if this
Lots of
man
them.
got to be making $150,000 for you to consider him, well, stay single the rest of your life because that's ridiculous.
I think that's why people do stay single, though. Honestly, Danielle.
No, those women. Listen. A portion of my business, I work with women who are getting married. Listen, no.
I mean, man, bro, my thing is like the high value, the Kevin
You
Samuels
said women
project,
who are
you
getting
already
married?
knew.
I
You
work
already
with
knew I was
clients.
going to say something about it
Okay.
when you mentioned it. You already knew. You changed the whole dynamic of what we were talking about with that high value shit, man. And buddy
Because it's
life.
real.
I
Because it's
don't.
real.
And
No, I
live
think that
life,
high
bro.
value stuff
I don't.
applies to a
I'm
certain
not a high
segment
value
of the
man, so
population.
maybe that's
I
why I
And
got
agree,
those
this.
Danielle. That's
people
why you all
do
So
not
ridiculous.
consider character.
But the thing is,
Okay,
I
high value
represent
is
a
about
group
the
of people
character
that's
of the
not a
man,
high value
not his
man
money.
based on how it's defined. I do not define
No, money
as a
matters.
high value man. So maybe
Not
that's
to
why we disagree.
everybody.
As it relates,
I agree
if
with
you
you,
can't
Big
you can't define a man as high value.
100.
As it relates to
I agree with Big
what
100%.
women are looking for.
100%.
Listen, men's number one priority is to provide and protect. That's just been since the beginning of time. It hasn't changed today. And what women look for is not necessarily based off of looks is cool and they great, but that's not the number one factor of what a woman is considering when she evaluating whether or not a guy is going where she gonna rock with a guy. It's
This might
based off
be
of resources. It's based off of what he can do for her. It's based off of opportunity. It's based off of whether or not he'll be able to provide for their children, whether or not she feels safe as it relates to the certain resources that he have, living in certain neighborhoods. And I'm gonna just tell you, I know women today whose goal is to be a housewife. And the problem in society today is that we want to say, okay, all women should be celebrated and highlighted, yet women themselves don't even respect women that want to be housewives anymore, as though that's not even a respectable profession anymore. So when we having this conversation, in order for her to be a housewife in today's society, there needs to be a certain level of man that she meets that can meet a certain expectation that enables her to be able to do that. And if you're saying that a high value man is not important in that circumstance or situation, then you really being naive and you're not being honest with yourself.
I don't know. We have different philosophies, bro. Because I feel we talked about this earlier. If you work in the house, you gotta actually get a job, right? That's the expectation. I feel in 2021, we talking about folks making their own bag. You gotta make your own money. So we talked about
my
this.
wife will never have to work ever in her life. My wife will never have to subject herself to doing something that she don't like.
Can we check in on you in 5 years to make sure that's true?
It's been true for the last 16. I don't know why it's going to change.
I hate your language, bro. Subject.
Are you married?
I've been married for 16 years, and she ain't never had to work.
See, that's that less than language, bro. So you make it seem like people that
she drive all the flyest cars. She fly wherever she want to go. She buy what she want to buy. She do what she want to do. And you know why? Because she make me happy, and I'm gonna ensure that she got everything she want to do.
We live in two different worlds, bro. That's why I think we never meet in the middle.
There's levels.
I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. That world does not exist where I'm from.